My dad's M50 wife makes me F26 pretend I'm not his daughter. So, this is a bit of a complicated story, but I'll keep it as straightforward as possible. I, F26, was around 4 or 5 when my parents divorced. I grew up with my mom, stepdad, and younger siblings, while my dad, M50, moved to another country, remarried, and we eventually lost contact. Without going into too much detail, it's a 3-5 business day explanation. It was largely due to his new relationship. Fast forward to recently, I moved to the same country to live with my partner, and I decided to reach out to my dad. We reconnected. But under humiliating conditions. My dad's wife demands that I'm introduced as a family friend to their kids, who don't know I'm their sister. As you can imagine, visiting is always awkward. I can't call him Dad, or talk much about myself or my family because my stepmom dislikes hearing about it. This New Year's, my partner and I were invited over to their house for lunch. It was going okay, aside from my stepmom's mom ignoring my partner the whole time, until one of their kids loudly announced, "Everyone here is family except Op and her partner." I felt so embarrassed and excluded, especially knowing that everyone at the table was already aware of my real identity but was told not to acknowledge it. To make it worse, my stepmom chimed in with, "Well, what about the dogs?" And my sibling replied, "Yeah, but I meant only we have this last name." That stung, especially since I'm the Og born with their last name. This reminded me of a previous gathering where everyone knew me as my father's daughter, but I now realize everyone there likely knew the secret sibling situation and had been told not to acknowledge it. Thinking back, it makes me feel delayed embarrassment, like I was the only one not in on this unspoken rule. It's left me feeling deeply hurt. I love the kids, and they really enjoy seeing me. They're always asking when I'll visit again. My stepmom insists I visit more to keep the kids happy, and I'm questioning why I should keep sacrificing my dignity for their comfort. I'm debating whether to confront my dad about how excluded I feel or to cut ties altogether. I don't want to lose all contact with the kids, but I also want to stand up for myself, as this situation has opened up my unhealed abandonment issues. The silver lining here is how supportive my partner has been through all this. Luckily, he is my family here. And soon, we'll be married and can have our own matching last names too. Just tell your sisters and brothers the truth, and if stepmom gets mad, so be it. What are they going to do, cut you out again? You already know what that's like. No father who would allow this is worth tolerating this for. Absolutely tell your dad you're no longer going along with this nonsense. Be prepared for the possibility that he picks his crazy wife over his daughter. The new wife sounds like a bad person. Selfish and self-centered. You are an adult, just tell them you're their half-sister. What's she going to do? Once it's out, there's no going back to the lie. Why are you agreeing to do this? So I'm petty and kind of an ass. Next time they have a family get-together, I would just walk in and give dad a hug and say, "Hey dad," and if mom said something I go, "Well, you're not my mother, you don't get to tell me what to do." Then I would look at the siblings and tell them I'm their half-sibling and that their mother has lied to them their whole life. Then I would walk out. But I'm petty and kind of an ass. My partner, 48M, won't stop asking me, 56F, for 3 ways. As the title says, my partner, we've been together for 10 years, is obsessed with having a 3-way. He asks all the time, and all his sexual fantasies involve a 3-way with one of my friends. We did actually have one a few years ago with a friend he always mentions, where he struggled to perform and I didn't really enjoy it. I finally got the nerve recently to tell him I'm not interested, and it makes me feel bad when he asks all the time. I asked why his now deceased wife and any of his previous girlfriends didn't have to deal with the constant pressure and requests. He can't answer. He said he's a very sexual person with needs. He also asked me if I preferred he sneak around behind my back. When I got upset that he just said, "Either give me a 3-way or I'll cheat," he said that's not what he meant. I should add that we don't live together, but when we are together we have sex twice a day most days. I feel very confused. He did threaten to cheat if I don't relent. I don't want to be cheated on, but I am also not interested in sharing my man. I feel the only option is to break up and let him find his harem. He seems to think there are tons of women out there just dying to have group sex with his 48-year-old, 5 feet 6 inches 215 pounds of glory with average-sized equipment. He said he didn't mean it, so now I can't really dump him for it. How would you handle this? Dump him? Are there a lot of women into group sex that would welcome the specimen I mentioned above? Thanks. I mean dudes trying to blackmail you into doing something you don't want to do, and is walking it back when they feel like you're on the cusp of ending this shitty relationship. You do you, but in my opinion this is a pretty obvious dump his ass situation. He's telling you to give him what he wants regardless of how you feel about it, or he will cheat on you. He doesn't actually give a crap about you or your feelings. Tell him he can have all the 3 ways he wants, but they won't include you because you're ending the relationship. He said he didn't mean it, so now I can't really dump him for it. Yes, you can. You can dump him for any reason you like. He thinks the grass is greener somewhere else. Let him find out. I reread the first paragraph. I suggest the other commenters do too. It's ridiculous, but he feels the need to redo the threesome he couldn't get it up for. He struggled to perform in front of not one but two women, and he is willing to harpoon his relationship to fix that. Yes, it's pathetic. Yes, it's dumb. And if you think I have but you are mistaken. He's a middle-aged adult, for fuck's sake. If he wants a three-way so bad and you don't, he could maturely have the courage to leave you and go have fun instead of teasing you constantly. Threatening to cheat is so silly. He said he didn't mean it, so now I can't really dump him for it. You can still dump him because of what he said and how it's making you feel, or for whatever reason you want. You'd be better off with a man for whom you're enough and could never imagine cheating you, and you probably would be better off as a wonderful single woman as well. Wow, he's 48, overweight and has average equipment? Let him go. How dare you stand in the way of his dreams? I can practically hear the women pounding on his door, trying to get his attention so they can have a three-way with him, and the doppelganger of Chris Hemsworth. Why do you even bother with this guy? He's fixated on his needs more than your feelings. I mean, you actually gave in, his average equipment did not perform well, and you didn't enjoy it. I would dump him and get a cat. I 27F am embarrassed by my boyfriend's 29M social ineptness, and it's starting to stress me out. Let me start by saying that when my boyfriend and I are alone, it's great. He's present, engaged, and I love spending time with him and our conversations. I feel so comfortable with him, more so than any other person in my life. We share similar interests, and we genuinely have fun together. I love him, and in those moments, it feels perfect. But things change when other people are around. For lack of a better word, he embarrasses me. We've been together for 7 years, but he's only met my family a handful of times because I'm constantly stressed about how he'll behave. When we're with others, he says things that make me cringe. He engages in political talk when it's clearly not the right setting, monopolizes conversations, can't seem to read the room, and constantly makes everything about himself. For example, if someone shares a story, he'll immediately turn it back to something about him without realizing it. He even forgets basic manners sometimes. He will talk the same to his friend versus my mom, for example. The worst part is, he doesn't seem to realize he's doing it. I brought this up multiple times, and while he always apologizes and says he doesn't notice, it keeps happening. It feels like a never-ending cycle. At this point, I'm starting to feel stressed whenever we have to socialize as a couple, and it's making me question if I can deal with this for the rest of my life. I don't know how to bring it up in a way that might actually lead to change, or if that's even possible. Has anyone else dealt with a similar situation? How do you handle this without hurting your partner or feeling resentful? This is how he is. At age 30, it seems unlikely he is going to make a significant personality shift no matter how many times you tell him he's embarrassing you. So, it's really on you to decide if the moments of cringe are outweighed by the nice times you have. There's no right or wrong answer, you just need to figure it out. He might be on the spectrum and be trying hard to relate and making an utter hash of it. I can relate. If he is, then you need to tell him outright. Not in a horrible way, but people like myself on the spectrum don't do subtle, and we don't do hints. We truly don't even notice them. I'm at the point in my life where I'm fully aware of myself and tell everyone that if I do or say something that makes them uncomfortable, just to tell me. I won't take offense, if it's done nicely and out of love, and am grateful someone cares enough about me to pull me up when I go off on one of my tangents. Checks so many marks for neurodivergence, ASD in particular. Your partner needs to get tested for autism, and probably behavioral coaching therapy, and if he was not willing to do those things, then you don't have time to be with him because you can't work with someone who won't work with themselves, and this is a life skill that is needed to hold a job long term. I have no advice. I am not sure what advice there would be to give in this situation, but I can relate completely. I have friends just like this. They're absolutely fantastic one-on-one, and you put them in a group setting and it's like night and day. It really is a totally different social skill set to be able to have one-on-one conversations and one in groups. I think a lot of people who are socially awkward or anxious, etc., it doesn't come out until they're in a social or group environment. My mother's husband is like this too. He's fine one-on-one or with family, but she said he embarrasses the hell out of her constantly at work with his awkward social skills. They work together. So yes, this is common. It's probably who he is, and changing at the age of 30 is unlikely. As others have said, he may be neurodivergent or have social anxiety, and that should be addressed by a professional. I, 19 male, was sawed and I don't know what to tell my girlfriend, 20 female. Sexual assault warning. So, yesterday I was coming back from the state my girlfriend lives in. She is a few hours away and I take the bus Central Yo visit her around once each month. When I get to the bus central and I waited for my parents who were going to take me to my house. They were a bit late and I live far away, so I decided to go to the restrooms. They have a coin-operated entrance that makes a loud sound when someone is entering. I got to the urinals and an older person got to the one next to me. We were alone. As I finished peeing, the older guy who was next to me pushed me against the cubicle wall next to me and did some things with my genitals. No need to go to details, but there was no penetration nor share of fluids from him except saliva. I froze completely and didn't fight back. I just closed my eyes and almost cried. Maybe a minute later the coin-operated entrance made its noise and the guy got alarmed and got out. Nobody entered the restroom, so I guess it was a woman. After the entrance, both restrooms share a common hall. I stood in the corner of the restroom in shock. I went and puked and almost fell as if I was going to faint. I washed my face and hands and went out, as if nothing had happened. I felt shamed, dirty, somehow guilty. My mind races even now with the idea of how they would do many ways to prevent it, had I just waited till I got home. I know this wasn't my fault, I didn't want it, but my brain still makes me feel like this. I didn't tell anyone, I didn't remember almost anything about the guy and I felt shame. I lost track of time, I don't even know when it happened. I'm guessing this is how I am handling trauma. Now I'm just scared of the consequences of this. I fear that maybe I can get an STI from this and that it can change my life if it's something like HIV. While I of course don't want something else, I'm not too worried comparatively about something curable like gonorrhea. I'm also scared of my girlfriend's reaction when I tell her this. I just feel as if I'm hiding it from her right now, but I don't want to. I just can't go and text her, I was sad, or something. I need to tell her in person, but I won't see her till in around 1 month. I'm scared the most of her seeing me as less or as weak. I'm scared of what if I get something, and even if she stays with me, how will it affect our sexual life together? Has anyone passed through this? Is there anything specific that I can do maybe? I barely slept last night investigating about the STI stuff, and based off the contact I had, there's apparently very low chances of me getting anything, especially HIV, but I can't feel comfortable until I fully find out with tests and I'm still terrified about it. As for telling my GF, I got nothing. Anything, even the smallest help will mean the world to me. Small edit. I know it's been just a few minutes, but seeing the comments I will report it to the police as soon as possible. I thought that there was no hope for it, but some observations were made by some of you, especially regarding CCTV, that I think that there's at least a chance for this to work. I truly don't want anyone to pass through something even remotely close to what happened to me. Another edit. I'm trying to respond to most comments, but right now I'm as exhausted as I can be. I'll probably respond a bit more after some sleep. But even a single word means so much to me now. I didn't feel as if I deserved this compassion from anyone, let alone stranger in the internet, yet I'm getting it, truly. Thanks to anyone who even just clicked. Thanks, happy crying face. Go to the police and report it. You should go to the and tell them what happened. They'll most likely create a sexual assault kit, create a medical report and collect swabs of areas where you were touched. They will most likely contact law enforcement in order to process the kit and create a case. They'll also run tests to check for any STDs. The individual who attacked you was incredibly brazen, which means they've probably attacked other people as well. Even if you don't remember much, you still might be able to provide enough information to stop this rapist. Stop reading this post, call the cops and report it immediately. There is most likely video evidence at the station and it will be deleted sooner than you think. This will happen to someone else. I'm so sorry this happened to you. This is way above Reddit's pay grade. People are so scary and getting scarier. I'm so glad you're not physically harmed. Your girlfriend should be too, and you should tell her how and when you are ready. Maybe visit a rape crisis center if you have one in your area for some resources for testing and counseling. Good vibes your way. Plus they would probably have CCTV. You need to report this as this person won't stop. Imagine if the next victim is a young boy. Please report this. Reporting is hard, it can be mentally draining. Coming from a survivor, I suggest reporting it. Even if you don't fully remember, you can still try. Seek out counseling and whenever you're ready, discuss it with your girlfriend. The counselor can help find ways to walk you through telling her. It will be okay, I promise. Take time to realize what happened. It's okay to be scared or disgusted. This is all on your time, not anyone else's. It was not your fault, you can't change what happened. He did this, not you. You are okay, you're safe. I'm here if you need anything.